Welcome to Socially Unfiltered,
That's the sleaziest tactic I have ever heard.
I cannot believe they would say that to you.
an open discussion all about social media, entrepreneurship, pop culture, and everything in between.
We're just some DIY girlies.
It costs $0 to support your friends.
You'll go on deep dives and doom scrolls with your hosts, Lex and V, to uncover the stories behind the headlines and look at everything through an unfiltered lens.
I want to relive the 2000s.
Not the trauma dumping on a Monday.
So grab a drink and get ready for a lot of yapping. Don't worry, there's no quiz at the end.
Strategy is such a buzzword.
English isn't my first language, so that's my excuse.
This is the Socially Unfiltered podcast.
Hey everybody!
Oh, are we recording? Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my god, I didn't realize we
We're
started already.
recording.
I have my screen like it's just blocking off where it says recording in the top left.
Happy Halloweeny! It's spooky season, but you know what's not spooky is Lex got engaged last week. Oh my god! Look at her.
It happened. And it was crazy. And I blacked out.
Our
And I don't
engaged
remember anything
girly.
said.
And also, it's so funny. I said to Lex that we both wore black sweater dresses when we got engaged. Both of us.
Yes. And the first thing I asked was if Veronica knew, like she was my father giving their
daddy.
blessing. Yeah.
Like, of course.
Shout out to Gabby for saying that first. That was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, the video is the best. It's like the best reaction.
I was like,
Veronica,
I wanted to be known that there was like 3 minutes before that. So it wasn't like my literal immediate reaction. Like I said, yes, apparently right away. But then immediately after, I was like, okay, does Veronica know?
Yeah, because the photographer didn't know, so she was recording.
No.
So I didn't know what you were saying before, but you were just silent on the ground, just like this
Yeah,
at the beginning of it. And then you said, "Does Veronica know?" Well, then you said, you asked the photographer if she knew.
Yeah, I asked Ren if she knew first because I was like, she has to know. Like, she had to have known. And she did not. And I was
So
like,
funny.
okay, so nobody knew it. But then everybody knew. Like, it was funny.
Yep.
But yeah,
That was great.
it was a great time. Super fun. Can't wait to see more of the pics.
I know. Such a good idea to have the photos.
Mm-hmm.
You literally black out and don't remember anything.
Yep. Literally don't remember a single thing that happened.
Yeah, you had your birthday weekend and you had your proposal and
What
now
a
it's
crazy
Halloween.
time.
What a month. October
Literally,
is a great month.
yeah. I already love it because of the spooky vibes, but
Mhm.
happy to now have this memory with it.
Wait, were the Krispy Kreme donuts good?
Yes, they were. And I sent you the picture of them, right?
Mhm.
They were like the Ghostbusters theme. So they were all
Yes.
like the big white guy and like
Yeah.
it had like the Ghostbusters logo on it. They were so cute. Yeah, they were good. We've had
Okay,
like
good.
half of them, I think.
Okay, good. I tried to send Lex alcohol or like a bottle of wine or something, and there's literally no delivery near her for alcohol unless it was like 3 days later. So I sent her
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme spooky Halloween donuts. And I think that was honestly better than alcohol.
Yes, it was, I think, way more enjoyed for longer.
Yes.
But yeah, Charleston does not fuck around with alcohol delivery. Even like during
Yeah.
COVID, like all of the restaurants like broke the rule of like the to-go containers of alcohol because
Mhm.
everybody
You gotta
was
make
just
your money.
fiending. Yeah. But yeah, well, I really appreciate the donuts. Thank you very much. And thank you for the entire part that you played and everything.
Yeah, you know,
I'm glad you knew.
just keeping a secret. Like, I
I
didn't do anything
literally I
else.
said to him,
Came
I'm
out
like,
good.
I can't believe you kept a secret from me. I was like, I can't believe you and Veronica both kept a secret from me.
So hard. So hard.
Yeah,
Good month.
I don't know if I'd be able to like hold that in. So I'm glad that I wasn't trusted with that job
Yeah, for like
for
2
years.
months. It's so hard. Yeah, so happy for you. So
Yes.
excited.
What
to
an
see all
exciting
the
time.
Yep.
And
Two
now,
two engaged girlies on a pod yapping away.
hey,
Okay,
love that for us.
we're gonna get into our Halloweeny episode now.
Yes, we can get into some spooky,
Spooky.
scary stories. So we kind of switched things up a little bit this year. So last year we read a bunch of stories from you guys and some Reddit stories that we found that actually weird update on one of them. We spoke kind of via comments to if you
Mhm.
listened to our Halloween episode last year, we talked about a cult that is like very prominent in the Northeast. And we read a Reddit story about it and Veronica posted a TikTok about it. And the person who the story was about commented on it and was
Yeah, they
like,
were like, "This was
this is my
me."
story. Like,
They're like, "Thank you for sharing." And then
yeah.
lately that video has been blowing up because it was the Yellow Deli
Mhm.
place, the Yellow Deli cult. What is the other one called? Like they have
The 12th
Uncommon
tribe.
Ground Cafe. Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
12 tribes, right?
I think
Um,
so.
yeah, they're like shut down and the person in Plymouth is being charged with like,
Oh, yeah, that was like recently.
yeah, trigger
Yeah.
warning, just being
Yeah.
charged with like SA and all these other
Mhm.
charges. So that video has been like blowing up because I think people are looking on TikTok about it all. But it's like
Yeah.
right near me. Plymouth is like 40 minutes away. So yeah, that's been crazy. I'm not surprised because that's how it is there,
Right.
in that cult. But yeah, if you haven't listened to that episode, go and listen and
Mhm.
look at what's going on in Plymouth. Spread the word because it's really scary.
So that was a crazy update that we had, one of your close to home update and also
Yeah,
the fact that we found the person who wrote the story, so that was cool, but
so
we are gonna switch things up a little bit this year. We are gonna talk about some spooky Hollywood stories. We have some celebrity ghost encounters, just some weird happenings, haunted houses, stuff like that. So yeah, so we went through and just pulled some fun facts about spooky Hollywood stuff.
crazy. Mhm.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive right in. We'll start with Courtney Cox, who is Monica on Friends, like most famously, I think is her like most famous role.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, she told Jimmy Kimmel on his late night show that she bought a house from Carole King, who is a singer. And when she bought the house, Carol told her that there was a divorce in the home prior that left like really bad energy in the house and she had experienced some things. And she said when she first bought the house, Carol King actually came over and they did a seance together to try to find out what was going on. And I keep wanting to call her Monica. Courtney Cox said that she was too like starstruck with Carol King to even like care what was happening. So she didn't really know a lot of what they found from the seance. But then a little while after living there, she had a delivery come and a UPS driver knocks on her front door and she opens the door and takes the package, whatever. And the driver was like, "So, do you know that your house is haunted?" And she was like, "Well, what makes you say that?" And the UPS driver was like, "Well, there's somebody standing right behind you." And she said in that moment, she was like, "I never slept there again. I need to sell this house." So I thought that was absolutely crazy. I like love
That's
hearing like
wild.
that this
Did she turn
happens to like
around? Like, what happened?
I know. I'm like, did you like try to figure out who it was? It's also funny to me that she just like didn't even care about the seance or anything. She probably was like, oh, it's like no big deal. Like, I don't believe in that stuff, so it won't happen to me. And then it did.
It's
So that's
sketchy.
crazy.
That is
Yeah,
crazy. I
definitely
wouldn't
a
like
weird
turned
one.
around or looked, but I mean, honestly, she's smart because most people I feel like always stick around. I mean, in the movies
Hmm.
at least, like they be sticking around to find out. And she was like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stick around and find out.
Oh, that was speaking of sticking around, that was an honorable mention for this list that I didn't put a lot on there just because I tried to not do like crazy like murder true crime stuff. I mean, I know
Yeah.
some of this just is, but um Brittany Murphy, the house that she died in, she bought from Britney Spears and Britney Spears sold it because of the like hauntings that she was experiencing.
Oh
And
god.
then Brittany Murphy died in the house. So that was an honorable mention for the haunted house list, but
Hmm.
it just felt weird to kind of like dive into that one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously all of these are very sad and tragic, but I again tried to stay away from like very true crimey stuff. And Brittany Murphy dying in the house obviously is just very heavy. So
Yeah.
fun little side note, I guess.
R.I.P. Brittany.
Yes, very much so. I loved her. Did you
Icon.
ever see the movie Just Married with her and Ashton Kutcher?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, it's like my actual favorite Britney
I
Murphy
love the
movie
one of
ever.
her and Dakota Fanning. What's that one?
Oh, Uptown Girls?
Yeah, I love that one.
I love that movie
That
so
was a good
much.
one.
That was a really good one.
All right, moving on to Nicolas Cage. Okay, he
Mhm.
loves paranormal, apparently.
Yeah,
Purchased
fun fact.
LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans.
I
Okay,
say New
so
Orleans, but I don't know if that's right.
I know I feel like whatever. New Orleans in 2006, he joked it was his ghost front property because it was known for being haunted. And I had no idea. Backstory for American Horror Story Coven, like that was the house.
Madame Lalaurie, I think is how
Yeah.
you say it. That was the whole plot line of not so it's not the witch's plot line, but it's remember in the show when it's like the old woman and she's like beating in her, like her slaves and like not being very nice to them. That's
Mm.
her and that's the house it's based on.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no idea. So he bought that house and
Mhm.
never talked about any of his experiences there, but like tons of other people did have not like supernatural experiences, so people just think he's too scared to talk about it.
Mhm.
And then he said the purchase was inspired by his childhood love of Disney Haunted Mansion. Like not the same at all. And it was like fulfilling a lifelong dream for him, but then he lost the mansion in 2009 for financial struggles. I wonder who lives in it now.
Well, so now it's like it's always been like a museum slash like ghost tour place in New Orleans. Like it's literally known as like the most haunted place in New Orleans. New
There's
Orleans. Now
only
I'm
6
questioning how I say it.
reviews.
You how many?
There's only 6 reviews.
What?
Yeah,
No
New
way.
Orleans, Louisiana, a week ago. Absolutely stunning, very well taken care of. A must see.
What?
Very disturbing history of the property. Seems unable to shake the unspeakable things that transpired on site. Hmm.
Yeah, I can't imagine going there and saying it's a lovely property. I mean, it probably is like beautiful in like a vintagey kind of way, but well, that's like so the Charleston jail is like the oldest jail in America and it's very haunted. They do like ghost tours and stuff. And this past year, um, a company bought it or like redid it. I'm not really entirely sure, but they made it into a wedding venue. And like so many people were
Scary.
pissed, like commenting, being like, do you want to talk about like the history that happened here? Because there was just like a lot of really bad things that happened there. And
I
now
just
it's just a wedding venue.
I just found a crazy story of someone that worked at the mansion.
Wait, tell it.
Okay. A few years ago, I was going through a rough patch financially, was looking for just about any job that would pay decent and had flexible hours. I used to work as a housekeeper and quite honestly was something I was hoping would come up as a job opportunity. At the time, I was living in Louisiana, or Vacherie, Louisiana, whatever, blah, blah,
Sure.
blah, blah. They're looking for someone to come in 2 days a week to clean the first and second floor of the house that was located downtown New Orleans. To fast forward a little bit, I ended up going to the place, huge, beautiful French home, literally in the heart of NOLA, and got the job. The first day was vanilla. Nothing but work, you know?
Vanilla.
I did what I was there to do. And as I got ready to leave, I got a whiff of this horrible stench, almost like burnt rotten meat. I thought to myself, shit, did I forget to take that out the trash? So I ran to the kitchen and the smell faded. I kept checking but couldn't find the source of the smell. After double checking everything, I left. When I came back the day after, I was on the second floor dusting the parlor area when I heard chains being dragged on the floor. At first, it startled me and I just brushed it off at someone outside, but then I heard it again and again. It definitely was coming from inside the house, so I ran as fast as I could downstairs to tell the housekeeper that somebody else could possibly be inside. It was only the 2 of us that day. She just looked at me and told me to mind my business and keep working, that it was nothing. She was kind of a mean old lady, but I shrugged it off and went back upstairs. Again, out of nowhere, that putrid stench of burnt, rotten meat filled the air. It was very annoying because just like that, it randomly came and went. Some days you'd smell it downstairs, others upstairs. Later on in the day, I was using the restroom. I heard this huge commotion upstairs on the third floor, what sounded like a young girl screaming and a woman chasing after her to get in here. I literally was like, what the hell? I opened the door and heard running upstairs, and then it stopped. The yelling, the screaming, everything. I went back downstairs, and at this point, I was frustrated and told the other housekeeper what I just heard. She looked at me and says, you never hear anything, okay? It's the best you just go on and you don't notice a thing. She always assured me that there is no one there, that we were fine. Needless to say, while I worked at that house a whole month, because that's how long I could take. That's only how long I could take. I had heard repetitive of the same yelling, screaming, chasing. Other days I'd heard chains dragging on the floor. But the thing that did it for me was when I was taking my lunch break on the second floor and heard a sudden cry of agony and despair, followed by the sound of chains that seemed to be coming from the third floor. I panicked, thinking someone was hurt and needed help. So as soon as I was getting up to go help, I see a tall, dark man with chains around his neck. And just like that, I ran out of the house as quickly as possible. I never ever told the person that hired me that I never even told the person that hired me that I had no intention of returning. I just stopped showing up. As rude as that seems, I could care less. I just wanted nothing to do with that place.
Mood.
Anyway, it wasn't until 4 years later, when I had long moved away from Louisiana, that I had returned to New Orleans with my boyfriend on vacation. We decided to do one of their spooky history tours, and I tell you, when I seen that familiar building, my heart sank. Anxiety was building up inside me as the tour guide told the story of the building I used to work at and the horrible, tragic, malicious things that happened there. I felt sick to my stomach that I begged my boyfriend and I to go back to the hotel. When I worked at the infamous LaLaurie Mansion, I never knew the history. Heck, I haven't even heard of it. But after the tour facts and doing my own research, everything I experienced there made sense. It still gives me goosebumps to this day, remembering the day I heard Madame LaLaurie chasing after what could have been a slave girl upstairs on the third floor. I'm almost positive it was her. Also, I'll add that the stench of rotten burnt meat could have been the spirits of many slaves that died tortured by the hands of that evil woman. A picture
Mm-hmm.
I took of the mansion. And she took like this photo.
Damn. Well, that gave me chills. That was creepy.
See, and people are
But
like all saying like, yeah, I used to live
yeah.
on that area. I hated walking by the house. Even my house had activity. There was an older slave woman and a little girl. I would hear them walking up and down the stairs, and the little girl would come during times of emotional stress. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so scary.
Yeah. That's literally giving me chills.
I
It
know.
was my when they're like, you didn't see anything, you don't acknowledge it, blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
like, how can you just work in that and just be
Right.
like, I mean, somebody has to, obviously, but
Right.
I don't know. That's just
But
really
it's, like,
sad and like,
weird too because, like, paranormal stuff, like, it's not like you call the cops. Like,
no.
it's not like there's anybody you can, like, call to fix it, but it reminds me a lot of, like so, like, the Appalachian, like,
Yeah.
trail and everything, it's like they all say, like, "If you heard anything, no, you didn't." Like, you don't
Yeah.
yell out at night, like because if you hear something, yell back, like, "No, you didn't." It
Mhm.
reminds me a lot of that,
Yeah.
you pretend it's not there, and
Yeah. Just
I
makes
don't
me
know.
sad for, like, their
Oh,
spirits.
yeah,
Like,
like,
why are
stuck
they stuck
there.
there still, and why are they still being,
Mhm.
like, tortured, and I
Right.
don't know, like, I just wonder about that. I
I
have to
mean,
bring
that
Lauren back
also
and ask her.
yeah, literally. I know, I would wonder what she would say about tuning into something along those lines, like something very heavy and dark, but I
Mhm.
feel like with a lot of places like that, they eventually just, like, bulldoze it down and, like, consider that the only way to, like, get rid of all of the activity,
Mhm.
which would be, like, sad because it's obviously, like, a historic place, but
Yeah.
definitely crazy.
Excuse the interruption, but I'm just checking in to see if you've joined our group chat yet. If you haven't, pause this episode right now and text the word group to 833-459-3349. There's a surprise waiting just for you.
Well, we can move on to something that, well, I was going to say is a little more fiction, but it's not. So, next little segment that we'll get into is horror movies that had weird things happen to them while they were filming or like to the actors. Like, it just kind of like asks the question of, does imitating stuff like this actually attract it? Like, is a horror movie set actually, attracting negative energies? So, the first one is the Conjuring series. So this actually they basically had a lot of activity happen through all of them, but the first one kind of sticks out the most. So during the first movie, there were a bunch of strange occurrences that were reported on set, like sudden gusts of wind, cast members experiencing unexplained bruises, and one of the actresses was like so convinced that something was attached to this movie that she refused to even bring the script home, and at one point found claw marks on her laptop. I wasn't sure if that meant like in like the set of the movie or like at home, because a lot of them said like even after a lot of this activity was happening on set, a lot of it started happening like at home with them too. There was a lot of really weird things that happened to a lot of people in the movie. And like while I was researching this, it was actually really hard to find like one solid story of what happened. Like they all kind of said
Mhm.
something different. A lot of what was happening is similar to the next one. So I don't want to like spoil anything. But yeah, just a
Yeah.
lot of like very strange things happening to the people. Did I put this in here? Yeah. So the Conjuring movies, if you've never seen them, they're based on this family, the Perron family. And then it's Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are like pretty famous like ghost hunters basically. The movie is about the Warrens coming to help Perrin like with their haunted house. And so the real life Perrin family would like went to the set to just like see what they were doing because obviously it's modeled after their house and their family and their story. And they said that activity picked up for them after they were visiting the set with the filming of everything
Ugh.
after it had kind of calmed down. I know, weird. So like it is really weird. It's like, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's like the more, I mean, we literally just got done talking about it. Like sometimes you do have to be like, that didn't happen, like whatever, whatever. But I think sometimes the more you think about it, the more you're talking about it, the more you're around it. Like even a pretend seance, like there's a real part of it, you know? And like I love the show like Ghost Adventures where they like literally go
Mhm.
in and will like talk to the ghosts and stuff. And like there are certain times where I'll literally mute my TV because I'm like, I just don't even want like they're like calling out and I'm like, what if the ghosts
Yeah.
in my house like hear them calling out? Like it like freaks
Yeah.
me out. So I do
And
think there
in these
is
movies too, like, they just say so many things, I think,
yeah,
that are literally welcoming that, and
yeah.
I have never watched The Conjuring, I've never watched The Exorcist, like, I
Mhm.
don't fuck around with paranormal stuff, like, I don't
Right.
like the scary stuff, it will scare me to death, I won't sleep, like, I
Mhm.
literally get so afraid because it just feels too real, and I'm like, "I am welcoming this shit into my home if I watch it, I
Yeah.
swear." So I, like, get so scared. So I don't
Mhm.
know anything about that, but I'm not surprised that that's what happens on these sets
Mhm.
because it's, like, so dark and twisted
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
even, like, American Horror Story stuff, I'm like, I don't know, I feel like there's just
Mhm.
a lot that probably happens on like, those sets, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Well, everybody's really mad at Ryan Murphy right now for the Menendez
Yeah.
brothers.
Yeah.
So I feel like, well, we still need to watch. The horror stories just came out. I wonder what they're, I haven't
Mhm.
looked at like what they're all about. I wonder if any of them are like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes the stories aren't as like crazy, like in depth,
Yeah.
weird paranormal stuff. They're more like sci-fi y.
Yes.
That stuff I
Which
can
I
do.
can do, like, I've
Yeah.
done all of the American Horror Stories, and I've been, like,
Yeah.
fine. I mean, some of them have scared me a little bit.
Yeah. The next movie that we'll talk about, I've never even seen that one. Like there's a lot of scary movies that don't bother me, like paranormal stuff really doesn't. So I have seen all of the Conjuring movies. They're very scary, but definitely not like the scariest thing in the world. But like I don't do like old horror movies. Like I've seen the original It movie one time, never again in my life. I've seen the original like Freddy Krueger movies, like one or two of them maybe. Like I don't do old original horror movies because something about the aesthetic of them makes them 100 times creepier.
Mhm.
So I've never seen the next movie that we're gonna talk about. Obviously, I know about it just because it's, like,
Yeah, like,
popular,
House
but
of Wax gave me trauma. Like,
oh my
that
god, that's
movie
so funny. I feel like that was, like, kind of a funny movie.
Wax, I watched that when I was, like, 8.
Yeah, that's gotta be, like, traumatizing when you're a
It
kid.
was
I
just
don't
so
remember the
scary,
first
I
time I
couldn't
saw it.
sleep, like, for months, and I'm still afraid. Like, it was so fucking scary.
I
Yeah.
feel like it didn't scare me that bad because it was hard to take Paris Hilton seriously, but I understand,
I
like,
didn't even
where
know who
you're
she
coming
was because I
from.
was so
Yeah,
young. I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be fine, but I'm just
yeah.
too traumatized from it that I can't watch it
No, I mean,
anymore.
that movie was very scary. Have you ever watched the Insidious movies?
Nope.
Oh,
Hell
those are
no.
100 times worse than the Conjuring movies, in my opinion.
Oh, no,
Like,
I refuse
way
to watch
worse.
any paranormal stuff.
Yeah,
Like, I can do thrillers, I can do
yeah,
sci-fi and gory, but I cannot do
mhm,
paranormal. I'm too fucking scared.
yeah.
Probably for the best.
I know, well, then there's me, I'm like, "No, I'm fine," and then I'm like, "Ethan, I need you to go turn the hall light on so I can go get water in the middle of the like, I'm like, "I'm actually not fine from watching that."
Yeah, for someone that is very intuitive and, like, in touch with that, I'm surprised that you watch that stuff.
Sometimes it does get a little too like, sometimes I have to take a break. Like, I've actually completely stopped listening to, like, true crime podcasts because that stuff
Yeah.
started to, like, bother me more than, like the paranormal stuff, but paranormal stuff, there's definitely a limit where I'm like, I can't right now. Can't right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just too close.
Wait, so on The Exorcist, I don't know about this one either. Being one of the most haunted movie sets.
Do you want me to tell this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm scared.
so the movie The Exorcist, this is like I literally wish I could hold you right now more than anything in the world. You don't understand. So the movie The Exorcist is known in Hollywood as having like one of the most haunted movie sets. There were like The Conjuring, just a lot of weird accidents. One of the most like noteworthy things that happened was a fire burnt down the entire set of the movie except for the bedroom where in the movie the exorcism happens. That was the only part of the set that was like completely untouched by fire. There were a bunch of actors and their family members that passed away during and right after production. There were a few people injured on set. There were a few people who felt sick while watching the movie at its premiere. And this was like kind of hard to find like a solid like evidence of this, but I can kind of believe it. It said there were a bunch of people that had like heart attacks because of the movie. Again, like TBD on validity. And they did have a priest come bless the sets before and during all of this activity. But the Exorcist movie, again, I've never seen it because it is one that like really creeps me out. Just the old vibe
Mhm.
aesthetic of it really, really freaks me out. But it's basically just a movie about a girl who becomes possessed and they have a priest come and try to get it out. And there's like an infamous scene where she's like laying in bed and her head turns around like all the way.
Oh, I've seen that on
And
like
she like, yeah. I actually, the beginning of Scary Movie 2 is a parody of The Exorcist, and I think it's so funny. I love the scary movies. I think they're so funny,
I haven't
like
seen
the
those
parody
either.
ones. You've never seen the scary, like, I hate calling it that. They're literally like Scary Movie 2.
Yeah. No, I've seen like what they are, but I haven't watched
Oh
them.
my God. Those are, I would be willing to say, like, some of the best movies ever made.
Wow.
I mean, maybe that's like really dramatic,
So
but
they
like,
just like make fun of. Well, I've seen the one where it's like The Grudge or whatever, and they're like fighting, like they're punching her
oh
in the
my
face
God.
and stuff, right?
Yes, and she's coming out of the TV and
Yeah.
Brenda's like, "Cindy, the TV is
Yeah.
leaking."
And
It's
she's like,
so
"Oh hell no!" And
yeah.
she's like beating the shit out of her.
Yeah, so they all take like 4 or 5 movies and like put them all together. So that one I believe is the third one, and it also is like Signs. So they have like the aliens come and like then there's they do one about like War of the Worlds where like the big things come out of the sky and like are like the spiders walking around. I just think they're so funny.
Yeah, I
So
haven't seen
highly recommend those. But
them. Gotta
yeah,
watch
so The Exorcist, just known as one of the most haunted movie sets. Again, The Conjuring and Exorcist had just a lot of similar things where you're talking about stuff like that. Again, are you
that.
attracting it? Like just a lot of weird deaths surrounding it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like so many other experiences on sets like that because I
Mhm.
mean, when you have it blessed by a priest, you obviously are like, okay, let's just take our steps to be extra safe. But like,
Yeah.
why would you do that if it's only acting, you
Mhm.
know? Like, so scary.
I don't know. I think like even, I mean, we've talked about this before, like with stuff that I hear and see and stuff. I'm like, the more I think about it, the more it like starts to
Hmm.
feel like it's gonna happen. And if I
Yeah.
just kind of like put that wall up, like it's so I just feel like it really is. There's something in like what you speak, you
Yeah.
attract, even if it is not actually your intention, or like if you're just acting or it's for a scene or
Hmm.
whatever. I think there's a lot of weird stuff. Another one too, just again, honorable mention was the Annabelle movies, the doll.
Oh yeah.
That was another one. There's been a lot of people that have like fucked with the doll, and then like there was a guy that died in a motorcycle ride home after like
Isn't she in a
touching.
museum somewhere?
Yeah, so she's in so Ed and Lorraine Warren from the Conjuring movies, the Ghost Hunters, they have like a or they did. I actually think they both might have passed away at this point. They have her like in their like collection of all these like haunted items, but is it Sam and Colby? Are they the YouTube ghost hunters? Do you know who I'm talking about? And Matt Rife went with them one time. They went to the Conjuring house, and I'm pretty sure that's where she is because those movies all connect to like the
Yeah,
Conjuring
I
movie
think
and
it is
the
Sam
Annabelle
and Colby.
movies.
Yep. Surviving a week at the real Conjuring house. They have like multiple parts. Yeah.
Mhm. And I think is that the one that Matt Rife is in with them?
I don't know.
It might not be the Conjuring house, but Matt Rife went with them somewhere haunted, and it's actually really funny.
The allegedly haunted Raggedy Ann doll Annabelle is housed in the now closed Occult Museum of the Paranormal Investigators Ed and Lorraine. The
Mhm.
doll was moved there after supposed hauntings.
Yeah, there's this whole article, 12 most disturbing details about the Annabelle doll.
Ew. I don't
Okay,
fucking
so wait, so these according to the story, one of the most terrifying incidents concerned a guy named Lou. Apparently, Lou didn't like the doll to start with. He found it creepy. On one occasion after spending the night in the apartment, which wherever the doll was at that time, Lou woke up to the sensation of being strangled, and then he saw the doll at the foot of the bed. Similarly,
Ew.
he later recounted another incident. One morning, he heard rustling noises coming from Donna's room. I didn't quite read who Donna was. As soon as he opened the door, he felt a searing pain on his chest. When he looked, he found 7 deep claw marks that were burning. They healed in 2 days. So, yeah, it looks like there were just obviously a bunch of people who had like weird
Yeah.
experiences. Oh, it looks like they've done 2 exorcisms on the doll. But yeah, the doll like literally is in this like glass case. And it's like, don't touch it. But it's weird that it's a Raggedy Ann doll because that's just like
Yeah.
a doll that like anybody could buy. I think that
Right.
freaks me out about
And
it.
like, how do they think keeping it in a case? Like, what does that do? Can't.
Apparently, a lot of it was happening from people, like, touching it or, like, being around
Mm.
it. So, like, the museum or whatever, like, Ed and Lorraine take, like, all of the, like, super haunted things and, like, keep them in their little room, and supposedly they have enough to keep them safe, but there's also been a lot of stuff that Ed and Lorraine warned were, like, complete frauds, so
Mm.
who knows? TBD.
Yeah.
What I don't remember, though, is why is she haunted? She was okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
A 28-year-old nurse received the Raggedy Ann doll as a birthday gift from her mom, and it started moving by itself. And that's basically just
Why is
oh,
it
she
20
took it.
kidding?
They said the doll behaved strangely and that a psychic medium told them that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased girl named Annabelle. So that's how she became Annabelle, the Raggedy Ann doll.
I wonder who decides like who gets to be a haunted item. Like,
Right?
who chooses that? How do you choose to do that?
What do you want to haunt? What kind of object? I
Hmm.
think I would want to be like a remote and I would just like move myself to fuck with people.
I know, I would have to be like funny pranks. I don't want to like terrify people. Like
Yeah, that's what I feel like
scratch
moving
people
a
and kill
remote is
people.
like.
Yeah, just like funny. What else? Mm.
Maybe like a dog.
A haunted dog.
This lamb chop back here. I'm gonna come
Oh
back
my
as lamb
god,
chop.
that's me. I'm gonna
No,
just be
that's
moving
literally
around.
me. I'm inhabiting the lamb chop right now.
Yeah, it would have to be something that's like people
Funny.
always, yeah, people always are looking for. People are always looking for, or like a phone. I don't know. I'd just be like doing weird shit on the phone.
I'd be like posting stuff to people's Instagrams for them.
I'll be on your story. Yeah, probably that.
Selfie.
Probably that.
That's funny. Definitely not
Okay.
a doll though. I feel like
No.
that'd be boring. You just sit on a shelf.
Yeah, no.
And
I
if you
wouldn't.
move, you scare everybody. Like, you need to be something that, like, if it moves, they're not, like, scared.
Agree. Tell us what you guys would be. We want to know.
Yeah, let
Tell
us
us in
know
the
what
comments.
object you would come back as
Mhm.
or
We'll
haunt
see.
people. We know you don't need another hoodie, but we also know that you want another hoodie. Make it one from our Bonfire store where you can find all of our official socially unfiltered merch, like our It's Not That Serious crew neck, our totally unfiltered tote bag, or our new dad hats. They're all linked in the description and we can't wait to match with you.
Our next segment is a couple celebrity paranormal encounters. These will just be like super quick. So, Ariana Grande visited a haunted castle in Kansas City and she said she felt a super heavy demonic presence. Said she took a picture like where you could see something weird, but then her phone malfunctioned and deleted it. Weird.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah. Miley Cyrus claimed that her London apartment had a little boy that lived in it. Her sister claims to have seen it, and I didn't quite find that Miley claimed to also see something, but she said she always felt watched,
Mm.
which is a weird feeling to have in your London apartment. I feel like London has to have like the craziest hauntings. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I just feel like it's got to
Yeah.
be a very haunted place. I just feel like the vibes are right for it.
I
Like I
wonder if
could
it was during her filming of that movie, LOL. Like, is that when she was living in London?
She said it was during a tour, but I don't know if she did like a tour of a leg over there or like if she had like a whole London tour. I'm not really sure,
Yeah.
but wait, I loved that movie.
I love that movie so
Do
much.
they live in London in that movie?
I thought they were abroad somewhere.
I don't
Yeah,
remember. I just
I
remember
think
what it's
so.
about.
Just kidding, it's set in Chicago. Why did I think London?
Wait,
Wait,
doesn't the
what?
guy have like an accent
I don't know, I could have sworn she was, like, in Lon I
in
don't know.
London? Well,
Yeah.
apparently London and Chicago are very similar.
Wait, filming locations, Paris, France,
Oh, okay. That makes way more sense. But it's
Michigan.
set in Chicago? That's so weird.
Why did I think that, though? Like, there was something about yeah, because like, in these photos, that is not Chicago. That is, like, abroad.
London.
I need to watch this movie again.
I know, I haven't watched it in a long time. I feel like there was another Miley Cyrus movie that I loved.
Last song, obviously.
I mean, obviously. Oh, no, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Lindsay Lohan and all of her movies. Like, did you ever watch Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen?
Yes.
My God,
Yes. That was
loved
a good
those
one.
movies.
This is turning into our favorite shows. Okay. Anyways, yeah,
Anyway,
apparently London was haunted.
yeah.
Kesha claims to have seen or had multiple ghost encounters. Okay, including intimate encounters.
Like, Kesha claims she has had sex with a ghost. She
Hmm.
has a whole story about it. Like, you can listen to her talk about it. She said it was like an experience that just it wasn't like a human sexual experience. It was whatever the fuck it means, like in spiritual terms. She said she just like felt something. But yeah, if you ask her, she will claim that she has had sex with a ghost. There was somebody else too came up. There's another celebrity. There's literally a whole this is on betches.com. It's a whole article. These celebs reveal they've had sex with ghosts. Lucy Liu, so like from Charlie's Angels, Kesha, Bobby Brown, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, wow. Oh, was Matthews on that set of Ghosts of Girlfriends Past?
The actor said he used to encounter an old female ghost calling her Madame Blue at his Hollywood home many years ago. However, after he went to investigate a noise while completely nude, things settled down around the house. Matthew and Madame Blue are just fine these days, he says. Maybe me being nude all the time is why we get along. Okay, so his wasn't like actually had sex with a ghost, but Kesha's is like straight up if you ask her. She said literally she's on this list.
I don't know his name. He was a ghost. I'm very open to it. She's
Yeah. Like he was in my house and he just started like caressing me. It was sexy time, but it wasn't like sex. Which is really funny because in the first scary movie, she has sex with a ghost. Like it's a whole scene and she's like up on the ceiling. Like it's so funny.
oh my god, that's so funny.
Isn't that so weird? Like sometimes I think the stuff I say sounds delusional and then I'm like, okay, well at least I'm not out here claiming that I had sex with a ghost. Like I guess
Just
I could
like,
be
well,
more delusional. Try harder is what I got out of that.
stop. I had something wake me up when I was in bed with my boyfriend at the time, and it was a touch down my body. I woke up and looked to the end of the bed, and there was a apparition of a woman. Full disclosure, I never slept with a ghost, but she did wake me up in a very sensual way.
Wait, whose was that?
That was her. She said not only did Kesha get touchy-feely with a ghost, she got touchy-feely with a cool lady ghost.
Jesus. That was
Yeah.
why I just kind of classified it as an intimate encounter. I'm like, I don't really know what to call it.
That's crazy. Yeah, she said she's been seeing things since she was little. So,
Mhm. Yep.
interesting.
And she has a ghost hunting show. It's called Conjuring Kesha.
Like, still?
Yeah, like it's out. Like there might even be a new season of it now. I watched it
Oh.
last year on Discovery Plus. I know it was on there. It's not good. Like it's the most like amateur, like I'm just doing this for fun because I have the money to do it kind of thing. But I love Kesha and I love ghost hunting. So I was super into it.
Hmm.
But it's definitely not like I wonder what the internet has to say about it. Oh yeah, 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Not doing the best.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah, fun fact about Kesha. And then we have Selena Gomez, who claims that her childhood Texas home was haunted and that they would hear footsteps when nobody was home. They would hear them upstairs. They would basically just hear people moving around when nobody else was home, which I feel like I've heard her talk about this before, but I don't know where it would have been, like an interview or something.
yeah. Interesting.
How she feels about
I
all
remember
of
like her, talking about like living in Texas and stuff, but I never
Mhm.
knew that she thought her home's haunted. That's interesting.
I know, who knows?
Yeah.
And just like I'm always curious, like who believes, like who's
Yeah.
a skeptic, who is this happening to and nobody's talking. Isn't it weird? Like you probably know somebody who like goes home and like is scared of their house and like you just don't know.
Yeah, you.
No, literally.
No,
I'm gonna
this
put
is
out a
your
PSA.
last
Like,
house.
does anybody need support through living through a
Yeah.
haunted home? Because again, like what do? You can't call the cops. Like,
Yeah, and you have to move, unfortunately. Like,
and when
but
it's
some of
attached
them
to
like don't
you.
follow. Yeah, they follow you or something. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, scary.
Really
We do
scary.
not claim this energy.
Yeah, literally. I know. I'm gonna go sage myself when we're done.
Okay, well, last one for our celebrities. Marilyn Monroe is said to haunt the Roosevelt Hotel, where she spent a lot of time at during her career. And they also claim to see her in like the mirror reflection of the room she stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
Again, allegedly, but
Allegedly.
could be a thing.
Allegedly, but like probably not.
Yeah. Probably
Because
not.
who lies about that? Just kidding. I feel like a lot of people do, but
A lot of
I
people,
would
sure.
I would believe that just because she had like such a strong like energy herself. I feel like she had to have like stuck around. There was no wait.
Sorry, Benny just cried in his sleep and that just scared me.
Oh, I thought you dropped something like a necklace.
know.
I was
He
like,
went,
oh my God.
he's dreaming
Aw.
about something ghosty.
Well,
Scary
we're
me.
giving him nightmares. We need to cut this off.
Literally.
Cut the episode.
Oh, just looked when it was 4444.
Classic.
Well, that was all for our spooky episode.
That's all, folks. That's all we can handle today.
Yeah, without scaring ourselves too much.
Without crying myself to sleep tonight.
Happy Halloweeny. Hope you are safe
Mhm.
and don't do anything we wouldn't do, like watch The Conjuring. Unless you're ready for that.
Don't play with a Ouija board.
No, don't do that.
Don't talk out loud to anything unless you want to attract it.
Be safe out there, y'all. We love you.
We love you.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
In case you haven't heard from us enough today, come hang on Instagram at sociallyunfilteredpod.
Join our group chat to stay updated in between episodes by texting group to 833-459-3349.
Download the Social Media Manager Business Blueprint to start building your business today.
And last but not least, grab your official Socially Unfiltered merch from our Bonfire store.
You can find everything linked in the episode description below or at sociallyunfilteredpod.com.
We'll meet you back here next week, same day, same time. Bye.
Bye.